Hello everyone, welcome back to another Train Sim World 6 video. Today we are back on the West Coast Main Line Trent Valley route by All Aboard Studios in Train Sim World 6. And we are in the Avanti West Coast Class 805 Evero in the full timetable, doing 1 Alpha 1 4 from Crewe to Milton Keynes Central, stopping at Stafford along the way. There's also been some very interesting Train Sim World news, and also running train news as well. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. First of all, let's just make sure the map is zoomed out. And ETCS, SDO, AWS, TPWS, Vigilance, DSD, TPWS, obviously. It's not as if they're operational, the TPWS system.
TPWS and AWS operational.
And I just bamboozled myself. It's ETCS and SDO are not operational on this unit. TPWS does work. And it's registered to GSMR. Are we in electric mode? No, we're not. We're getting line voltage? Yes, we are. Just make sure the engine is stopped. Because, yeah, this is where a real life power changeover would occur, because this service has come in from Holyhead. So, yeah, this is 1 Alpha 1-4 Holyhead to Euston, stopping at Crewe, Stafford, and Milton Keynes Central. How's frame rate? Not bad. I'm also using a patch from the Train Sim community website by 25 kilovolt Dan that fixes the texture bug in the cab to stop all the black squares from appearing, and also changes the colors on the 805 and 807 to be a bit more prototypical to real life. That's a good setting. I'm also using PC-only mods and custom.ini file changes, all of which can be listed, are listed in the description. Oh, put it over to the left or the right. That's neat. I didn't even know that was a thing. Oh, and I forgot the DRA. Whoops. I knew I'd forgotten something. Reverser's in neutral and yet vigilance is going off. Is that realistic? Anyway, leave it in neutral. Oh, yeah, that is one thing about this route. It'll make you unlock the doors for no reason. Oh, there's a pendo. Because it's bypassing.
Welcome aboard this Avanti West Coast service to London Euston. We'll be calling at Stafford, Milton Keynes Central, and London Euston. Please familiarise yourself with the safety notices displayed throughout the train.
Alright, let's go notch 3, just to prevent wheel slip.
This is British Transport Police. If you notice something out of the ordinary, speak to a member of staff or text us on 61016 and we'll get it sorted. That's 61016. See it, say it, sorted.
I actually had the pleasure of seeing Class 805s at North Wembley the other day. Just 2 days, was it 2 days? No. Yeah, it was 2 days ago. Which is a bit bonkers that I saw these great units in real life. Honestly, the 805 and the 807 are my favorite IET variants that exist. Like, the 810s look cool. Like, I think the 810s that are used by EMR look a bit better, but I think in terms of passenger comfort, these ones are better. However, I say that as a person who's never ridden on an 805 or 807 in real life, and the only reason I'm saying that is because the seats fitted to these units are the same ones that are fitted to the refitted Pendolinos. Which I have ridden on. And I have been on one of those Euston to Glasgow Central services as well. So yeah, we're straight up to 110. The 805 doesn't have speed set, unfortunately. Let's keep an eye on... Where's the wheel slip button? Alright. Full power. Yeah, I haven't tried Trent Valley in winter yet, so I thought, why the heck not? Oh, there's the Rail Operations Group Europhoenix Class 37. Yeah, so this route hasn't been cached on my shader cache yet since doing all of those INI changes. I had to reset the shader. I had to delete the shader cache I already had, so I would advise you to expect more stutters than usual. But yeah, I have these INI changes actually lower the amount of stutters the game produces, because it actually lowers the amount of I think it lowers how often the like the Unreal Engine 4 like textures which are already used in an unloaded bin is cleared, basically slowing down the amount of stuttering that is produced. "22 miles to Stafford." Wonder why we're stopping at Stafford and not going all the way to Milton Keynes Central. Because yeah, the 807's going to Liverpool Live Street, only stop at Milton Keynes and Crewe. Have we got any temporary speed restrictions yet? And no speed set either. That feature hasn't been ported over from the 807 yet, despite the fact that it is a real-life feature in these units to have a speed set. Hopefully all aboard can eventually get around to porting that over, but we will see. How's frame rate? 45-ish FPS, but with a lot less stuttering than normal. Like, yeah, that's pretty decent. Also, I just thought, why not do a UK route in snow? It's been a bit since I've driven a route in the snow in this game. Also, I love that pantograph light. Look at that! I love how the pantographs are lit up like that. That is realistic, by the way. 108 miles an hour. Just a singular Class 805 today, and the unit we are driving is 805012. So the 12th member of the class. Yeah. So Trains and World is definitely stuttering at a lower level compared to normal. Pendo. Don't know why the snow is flashing like that. That's weird. But yeah. Like, you could tell that Train Sim World, even despite the fact it's having to cache a new route, is definitely experiencing less stuttering than normal, which is absolutely excellent. And yeah, I love Trent Valley. Like, I think if Train Sim World has high-speed UK routes, like, this is the way that it should be done. Like, Dovetail's East Coast Mainline Peterborough Doncaster and West Coast Mainline South routes are pretty mediocre in comparison to this. This has far better scenery, much more route coverage. I just wish the East Coast Mainline could get these kind of routes, because just having Peterborough to Doncaster sucks. Though there is speculation lurking around that the next Train Sim World core route for Train Sim World 7 will be East Coast Main Line Newcastle upon Tyne to Edinburgh Waverley, set in the modern day, which would be interesting, but they would have to add an LNER class 800. What would it be? It's not in Hull Trains territory. They'd have to add a Transpennine, the Transpennine IETs, cross-country Voyagers, that kind of thing. How's performance now? 50 FPS. Nice. And with far less stutters. Like, this is a meaningful difference, I have to say. Like, if you're on PC, then I would highly recommend doing some .ini file changes. But just do them carefully and make sure to back up your original INI file, but so that you can refer any changes if necessary. Because, yeah, if you mess up your INI file, you're going to cause problems. Pendo. I must say the Pendolino is probably the best train to drive on this route, but the Everos are also really, really good. Yeah. So, I did mention Train Sim World News and I didn't say a dang thing about it. Oh, I should check. Am I actually recording this? Yes, I am. It'd be a bit embarrassing to discover I wasn't actually recording this. Just make sure. There we go. 14 miles to Stafford. We should expect worse braking conditions, that's for sure. Also, I do like the color change mod for the Everos because, well, it does legitimately improve how these units look. And from getting real life footage of the Everos, like, they are, like, this is this is much more of a prototypical color. It's more of a dark ultramarine than the somewhat lighter sea green that All Aboard shipped the product with. And also finally having the proper buttons in the 805, also very nice. Though I'm really sad that people on console can't get this, because currently their 805s are completely ruined and with no sign of a fix in sight. Like, yeah, if I'm driving an IET in this game, it will be the 805 or 807 basically. Like 801, meh. 802, meh. These 805 and 807, yes, much more decent. And the sound sets are much better too, and they're not just ripped off the Electro Stars like the 801 and 802. Yeah. The only IET I don't have is the Great British Railways 802 that Dovetail made as a separate pack a few months ago, which I'm very glad I don't have, because number one, the texturing's not too good. Number two, no 802s are in Great British Railways livery yet. And number three, I much preferred seeing a GBR class 701 Arterio on a Southwestern ex-Southwestern route. I did, a couple of days ago, I did go train spotting at Clapham Junction, and I saw a ton of 701 Arterios. Like, they are legitimately everywhere on Southwestern Rail, but no GBR one. I did see the Legoland 701, but no GBR 701, which I was very annoyed about. And I didn't see the 387 either. 10 miles to go, and that is another Pendolino. Let's see if we can get a shot with this chap. Oh boy. When I look at, yeah. Let's angle the camera down a bit so I have some room for text. And let's take that. Frame rate. Yeah, frame rate is good. Yeah. So we have 7 minutes to do 10 miles. How hard can it be? As long as we don't get TPWS overspeed on this run. Yeah. And this, you can actually complete the 805 run down to all the way to Euston, thanks to the West Coast Mainline South route and the Evero timetable that All Aboard did for that, which also has a layer for the 807 as well. So you could do continuous 807 runs all the way from Euston to Crewe and do the same for the 805 as well, which is very nice indeed. Also, oh, I've almost forgot, desk illumination, turn that up. So in tunnels, we can actually see when, we go, like the instruments glow when we go into a tunnel. But, yeah. I think the two biggest disappointments about the 805 are A, the currently broken cab, B, we don't have anywhere prototypical to run this in diesel mode. We don't have any stretch of the North Wales coastline in game, and I would love to see the North Wales coastline, I'll be honest. Like, if we could have a North Wales coastline, say if all aboard did Crewe to Llandudno via Llandudno Junction, complete with a Transport for Wales Class 197 and 158. Like, that'd be awesome. Anyway, Train Sim World News. The Train Sim World... Oh! Wait a minute. Oh, hello. Why are you stuttering like that? All aboard! That is some missing overhead catenary, ladies and gentlemen. I had not noticed that before. Naughty, naughty. Anyway, enough nattering. The Train Sim World 6 roadmap for July has leaked. Because they use a URL structure, people typed in what they assumed would be the roadmap for July, and a website actually popped up. It didn't just come back with an error. And while most of that supposed roadmap was copied and pasted from the June roadmap, like it still talks about the Trent Valley release and things like that, there was something that caught people's eyes. The TLDR part of the roadmap had actually been updated, and there were a couple of spicy bits of information. Number one, Cargo Line Volume 6 Gas by Skyhook Games is actually going to release the week after the roadmap is released, so maybe around mid-July, so say around the 10th to the 12th maybe. But that's just an educated guess on my part. Which, yeah, that's pretty cool. Nice to see Skyhook still making products, but I'm still waiting for that Intercept City HST on Fife Circle of Skyhook. But the major piece of information that blew the tops of everyone's heads off was the fact that the Tadami line, Aizu Wakamatsu to Tadami, the first Japanese route for the game, is actually coming July. And that's not, I'm not trying to, and I'm going to just treat this as if it's already been announced, because it's leaked on their own website, so I'm not going to exactly treat it as potentially sus information, you know? But holy moly, the fact that the Tadami line is finally coming to the game after so much anticipation is honestly insane. But I honestly feel pretty sad for Union Workshop in one particular respect. I feel that the release of Running Train will cut down on the amount of releases that on the amount of purchases that Union Workshop will see, at least on PC, because people will just buy Running Train instead, and that's really sad, because it looks as though Union Workshop have put the work in and made this into a properly stunning route. 2.5 miles to go. Is that a yellow? No, that's a green. Sometimes it's hard to tell. But yeah, if finally we could get the Tadami line in July 2026, even before the release of GTA 6, people were saying it wasn't going to happen, and yet it looks like it will. So let's start braking earlier than I would, because A, we've got a red signal coming up, B, I want to try and avoid wheel slip. Okay, that's my Send button. Yeah, like, holy moly am I excited for Tadami. Like, legitimately. Like, it's going to be a realistic Japanese route with the Keynes 40, which I've seen in real life, and it's going to be 80, almost 90 kilometers long. Like, I've been waiting. This was initially announced, ladies and gentlemen, in February 2024, and it's been on the roadmap since then. The fact that it's been...
We are now approaching Stafford. Please mind the gap when leaving the train, and step onto the platform before removing heavy luggage and pushchairs.
I think we'll be slightly late to Stafford, but due to the snowy conditions, I won't be too surprised. Alright, Stafford, ladies and gentlemen. Slow down quickly for that 25. There we go. Let's put on the brakes at the last minute. Let's get below 15 just to make sure we don't get TPWS overspeed, because for some reason when I'm driving the IETs, I seem to love getting TPWS'd. Anyway. Yeah, like, Tadami came out in February 2024. 2 years. This will be a initial announcement to release arc of how 2 years and 5 months.
Welcome aboard.
That is
Avanti
insane.
West Coast service to London Euston. The next stop will be Milton Keynes Central. Whilst at the station, if you see something that doesn't look...
Right, I'm just going to cut that off mid-sentence. Yeah. I must say I do like the 805. It's a decent unit. Just wish you could run it in diesel mode, like in more prototypical locations. But hey, we'll see if All Aboard makes a North Wales coastal route. Like, I'd love to see that. Yeah, so after this, it's direct all the way Milton Keynes Central. Oh, also, you can also do a part of this run on the West Coast Mainline Birmingham Crew route, which is another route by All Aboard Studios, in the Evero timetable that the 805 provides. But on that route, you can only go as far as Stafford, because after that, you go off that route. Because the bit from Stafford to Crewe is the same on Birmingham Crew and Trent Valley. Alright. Just forgot to release the brakes. Is the door interlock? Yes, it is. The door interlock light is on. Put it at notch 2. Next and final stop on today's trip, Milton Keynes Central in 80 miles. Yeah, I do like the Trent Valley route.
Welcome aboard this Avanti West Coast service to London Euston. We'll be calling at Milton Keynes Central and London Euston.
Did you hear that? It sounded as though the voice of the announcer got temporarily duplicated.
Please familiarise yourself with the safety notices displayed throughout the train.
Weird. There are a few Everos that go via...
This is British Transport Police. If you notice something out of the ordinary, speak to a member of staff or text us on 61016 and we'll get it sorted. That's 61016. See it, say it, sorted.
One thing I love about All Aboard's route is the see it, say it, sorted announcements are very prototypical. Like, genuinely. They would genuinely play after every station in real life, and all of the frequency of that announcement popping up is genuinely realistic. Like, that announcement is everywhere. During my trip into London 2 days ago, I legitimately heard it everywhere. Like, I probably heard it like 15 or 20 times, which is just totally uncalled for. Hello, Class 66 with JNAs. If Josh is watching this video, my buddy Josh, who also goes by Hectic Jojo on YouTube, he would go absolutely bonkers because he is the shed guy. Like, his whole train sim identity is based around sheds. It is also unusual to see a DB shed on this route because the vast majority of shed services on this route are run by the direct rail services Class 66 from the Edinburgh-Glasgow route, because yeah, those are what run the intermodal services in real life. Alright, 88 miles an hour, we are leaving Glorient in the dust. Sorry, not sorry for that 1980s film reference. How's the frame rate now? 37 FPS, but it's a consistent 37 FPS. So hey, yeah, like you could tell, oops, wrong button, that the stuttering has decreased significantly. Like, cheers INI file changes, like, yeah. Because this route is having to be cached again on my computer, it's not too surprising that it is still stuttering a bit, because, well, Unreal Engine is having to reprogram it onto my computer, basically. But, yeah, this route does run very well. I'm just so sad that this route is just genuinely completely broken on consoles. Like, from what I'm hearing, even on Gen 9 consoles, the players are having to play with the Pendolinos because every time a 805 or 807 is selected, it just crashes for no reason other than, you know, like, genuinely the console situation with this game is just getting worse and worse with every new release. It's not as if Crew Preston is any better. That route absolutely murders performance, even on PCs, as I've demonstrated. But, yeah. Alright. 75 miles to Milton Keynes Central. Also, listen to the joint noise through this tunnel. Why are the sounds cutting out? The running sounds on the 805 were cutting in and out. Why? That was so weird. Oh, hello. What are you? Another 805. Nice. There is actually a 15-car 805 run. I forget what heck. Oh. Oopsie daisy. Yeah, but yeah, it's basically just 3 805s strung together. Yeah, like the increase in track joints in that tunnel were causing the running signs to cut out. That's so weird. I've never encountered an issue like that before. Hopefully All Aboard will fix that. Though, to be fair, the 805, like, if you have Birmingham Crew, Trent Valley, and West Coast Mainline South, it is genuinely well worth buying at full price, simply because, well, it layers on all of them, and it adds brand new timetables to Birmingham Crew and West Coast Mainline South as well. And then on Birmingham Crew and West Coast Mainline South, you'll then be able to layer in the Class 70 as well when that releases, which is also another all-aboard product, and that looks pretty interesting as well. Like, yeah, the Class 805 looks genuinely decent. Where's my frame rate gone down? Not the INI changes were supposed to fix this. Evidently not. We're getting under 30 FPS. What the heck? Must be another unit up ahead. Nope, never mind. It was... Oh, it's that one area. It's that area. Just south of that junction. There's that one area, for some reason, just murders the performance, and then it just moves on and goes back up. Very weird. So yeah, I also, you'll notice I'll no longer have the click to view the screen, and that is because I've put that enhanced display mode back into classic mode, because clicking to view the screen isn't exactly realistic, and I like zooming in to program this kind of thing, and it also can get rather annoying. So yeah, here we go. Here is Rugeley Trent Valley with a 350. Oh, I thought that was my vigilance. It was the doors on the 350 closing. That is hilarious. I thought that was my vigilance going off. It wasn't. It was the doors on the 350 closing. That is very funny. Yeah. Doing a 350 run on this route is, yeah, takes a while, to put it mildly. It takes about an hour and a half to get... no, it takes about an hour and 45 minutes to do a full run from Crewe to Milton Keynes, stopping at every station. Well, except for Polesworth, of course, but that only gets one train a day. Just one parliamentary service a day. Is that a train ahead? No, it isn't. It's just my imagination. Yeah. 115 limit coming up. You're not allowed to go up to 125 very often in these units, unfortunately. But hey. Okay, wow. I wasn't expecting that big of a stutter. 42 FPS, not bad. Just keeping an eye on the performance, because I'm still stress testing these INI changes, and I don't want... Yeah. Also, I should mention that the INI changes in the description are compatible with the Medway Valley line, because that... because Medway Valley uses custom.ini file changes specifically to the lighting that can mess around with some .ini file presets, which, yeah, definitely can cause issues, like crashing. But yeah, because the INI file changes I made don't mess around with the lighting, that means that they are compatible. You are a Pendolino. For some reason I thought it was Flying Scotsman for a split second, despite the fact Flying Scotsman doesn't even have a rail tour on this route. I'd like to see Flying Scotsman get a few more rail tours. Oh well. Despite the fact that I'm caching this route for the first time, with this, yeah, it still is running genuinely well. Like, with very few stuttering compared to, very few stutters, sorry, compared to normal. Also, thanks to this route, you can now do a full 350 service from Crewe to London Euston, which is one of the longest routes in LNWR's roster, which is pretty cool. Also, unfortunately, the Class 350/4 doesn't have a branding patch yet, which I'm very annoyed about. Like, I would like to have those LNWR services branded, but I can't at the moment. As soon as a patch comes out that adds branding to the 350/4, I promise you I will get it, but yeah, I'm just having to wait. hello. What's this? I think this might be Nuneaton. Yeah, this is a Nuneaton. No, this is Lichfield Trent Valley with a 323 sitting at the platform. Yeah, seeing that 323 actually reminds me, because I would love to see All Aboard do a class 730 in both LNWR and West Midlands colours for this route, but yeah, it seems we're going to get anything like that. I would love to see it, but yeah, since it is a major part of the rail scene on the West Coast Main Line now. Like, the 730s have genuinely taken over from a lot of the Class 350s. And to see only 350s and no 730s, even though this is last year, well, set last year, this route is set in 2025, I believe, is a bit sad, you know? I'd love to see the 730s be added to the game, even if the LNWR version was unbranded. Because then not only would the West Midlands version be able to appear as well, it could also do the AI services at Lichfield Trent Valley, and maybe even add a new modern day timetable for the Birmingham Cross City line, which would be pretty cool. Like, I would love to see it. Like, if All Aboard could do it as an add-on for Birmingham Cross City, but also layer it onto their other content. Shed. DRS Shed with the tail lamp on the front. Good job, Rivet Games. Yeah, it's just... I think it will very likely be a long time before All Aboard make a 730, because after the 70, they've expressed their intention to step away from West Coast Main Line routes, which I'm honestly not mad at them about, because all they've done so far is West Coast Main Line. They've done Birmingham Crew, they've done the 805, and they've done Trent Valley, which are all West Coast Main Line themed in a way, in separate ways, I should say. 2 West Coast Main Line routes and a train which only runs on the West Coast Main Line, mostly. So, yeah. Oh, hello. Didn't even notice that 110 limit. Should probably be paying more attention. We've all had all clear signals so far, apart from one leaving Crew due to a blocking Glasgow Central service, but that cleared pretty quickly, so yeah. Oh, I thought something was happening there. It wasn't. Here is Tamworth and a Pendolino. Like, yeah, the Pendolino is probably the most fun train to run on this route, because you can get it to up to 125 for long periods of time, and I do mean long. And genuinely, like, this is the route the Pendolino should have been built for in the first place, because this route is just so good that, and so long as well, that it means you could get up the Pendolino, up to a decent speed for a decently long time, and you don't have to immediately slam on the brakes because it's the end of the route. Birmingham to Crewe and West Coast Main Line South both had that issue, where you could take the Pendolino up to 125, but for such a short period that it felt like the Pendolino just felt like a caged animal. And also the Everos felt like caged animals. But yeah, Trent Valley allows the Everos and the Pendos to really stretch their legs for long periods of time, and it feels amazing. this Polesworth? No, it's just a bridge. That's pretty funny. No, this is Polesworth. No, it's not. Yeah, it is, because the platform on the left isn't active, but the one on the right is. Yeah, only one platform at Polesworth is active, and it only receives one parliamentary service a day. Which, yeah, is just a... Usually, if stations are receiving only one parliamentary service a day, it means that they're imminently about to close, because the train operating company just is has to, by law, send a train there a day if they want to keep them open, but there's just not the passengers to keep them open, so... yeah. You can drive that one Polesworth service if you want to. Can't remember the head code for it, if I'm being honest. Do have a 90 limit coming up too. Oh, Pendo. So down for that 105. We got 90, 85, 100, and 110. Why? So weird. It's probably because we're coming up on Rugby, to be fair. I think you could... No. Not Rugby. No, it's Atherstone. Yes, it would be Atherstone, wouldn't it? Pendas could go through at 100. Guys have to go through at 85. Down to 85. Do like the speed set feature on the 807, but yeah, it is very fiddly to work, I have to say. Probably one of my favorite stations on this route, despite the fact that you have to slow down so much for it. Back up to 100, then 110 very rapidly. To 100, so let's get that speed going. Back up to 110 miles an hour. Under 50 miles to Milton Keynes. Speed. Oopsie, too fast. Yeah, I'm definitely not getting perfect points for speed on this run. I've definitely done a couple of speed limit overruns. Both at the 105 zones, ironically. If you want a decent train that performs even better than the Everos in terms of game performance, then the Pedalino has recently been optimized, and it has decent performance now. branch line goes. Limit in a minute. Nuneaton coming up. Straight through Nuneaton. Up to 120 in a minute. Very nice. So we got about another 15 miles to Rugby and then another 30 to Milton Keynes Central. We go. Nice, performance is improving. Oh, TSR, temporary speed restriction, down to 75 miles an hour. Hopefully we'll be able to get that TSR and still remain on time. Though I do actually have a complaint about at least the modern day temporary speed restrictions in game. While they are a cool feature, they are the wrong color. As I've seen a TSR in real life now, I can say that they're actually like supposed to be like a reflective lime green, like what you would see on a high visibility vest. But the ones in game are a what is it? I'm trying to remember. Like a yellow color. I'm not complaining about the Just Trains one because they put the work in, but to make them realistic. But yeah, definitely the default TSRs are 1,000,000% the wrong color. Evero, another 805. Very interesting. 75's limit approaching. Also, all aboard increased the default TSR speed because normally the default TSR speed is 40 miles an hour or 75 kilometers an hour on German routes, whereas these TSRs are 75 miles an hour, which is very nice. I do wish that the TSRs could add workers, like working alongside the tracks, as would be realistic, but yeah, unfortunately that didn't happen. Oh well. Briefly, yeah, let's just assume that we're cleared up to 110, and just try not to go up to 120 because yeah, the limit is so close. Oh, whoops! Oh, I did this exact same thing. Brake release. Yep, the brakes are now stuck on emergency because I just put the reverser in reverse by accident and the wheels have locked up. For crying out loud, we're now just skidding. Come on! I'm pressing the sand button just to try and... Yep, there we go. Now we're getting some traction. That's pretty impressive that we managed to lock up all the brakes on an Evero in this day and age. Right, let's get the brakes released. Okay. Let's just do a quick reset of the safeties.
TWS and AWS operational.
And let's get back in business. Yeah, we're definitely getting to Milton Keynes Central late after that debacle. I did the exact same thing on my 807 run a few weeks ago. Like, what? It's just because the W and S keys are so close to the A and D keys. Just hit them by accident without thinking about it and just shoves the reverse, and that locks the emergency brakes on. Ugh. Right, try and go to notch 4 as early as possible. Full speed ahead. Though I'm really impressed by the fact that we managed to lock up every single wheel and bogie on this unit while trying to slow down. Like, that's something you can pretty rarely do in Train Sim World. Like, the only vehicle I managed to consistently get all the wheels to lock up is the Class 142 Pacer, which is 40 years older and much less reliable than this. I probably just blew out your eardrums. I do apologize. So when you're not paying specific attention to the keys, it just, yeah, you could very quickly get into massive trouble if you're and lock the emergency brakes on and blow out your viewers' eardrums if you're not very, 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 very careful. I can't wait to try the Class 70 on this route, man. Like, it seems as though, unlike a certain Alan Thompson simulations, all aboard have genuinely put the effort in, and the sounds, the clag, the new wagons, the modeling, and the fact that it has a very similar cab and computer setup to an American freight locomotive, which they've pretty accurately represented, is pretty impressive. However, I hope they don't include. Maybe one of the scenarios will be a Class 70 moving 70012 to another location. The one that, i.e., the one that got dropped at Southampton docks by a crane operator. And literally, if you have a look at some of the pictures on the internet, 012 literally, which is ironically the same number as this, literally had like the whole chassis bend in half, which is nuts if you think about it. Like, the amount of force required to bend a modern freight locomotive, it's just insane. But yeah, it actually happened. It's not AI or anything. It genuinely happened. And yeah, unfortunately, the locomotive was written off and had to be scrapped and stripped down for parts, which is not surprising, but also really sad at the same time. Alright, we do have an 100 limit. I suspect that's from Rugby. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just really annoyed that we had an emergency brake application due to my stupidity. Oh, 350. Stroke 4 because it isn't branded, annoyingly. I wonder why the limit goes temporarily up to 120 and then goes back down to 100 basically in a short space of time. Has to be a good reason for it. Alright, let's start getting the brakes on for that 100. I believe Pendos can blast through Rugby at 125, but not us. We have to slow down because we don't have tilting capability. It is actually the intention to eventually phase out the Pendolinos and not replace them with any tilting trains. The intention is eventually to just phase out tilting trains entirely on the West Coast Main Line. There's the line coming in from Birmingham New Street, which we last saw at Stafford. Like, yeah, Rugby would have been a much more ideal terminating place for West Coast Main Line South instead of terminating at Milton Keynes, of all places. Because then you could have done, because Rugby is where the line to Birmingham New Street diverges. Very weird that they chose to terminate it at Milton Keynes Central. Sounds like they were a bit rushed and ran out of development time. There's a Pendo and a 350. Straight through. Oh, it's a pair of stroke ones. Those are branded because I have the West Coast Main Line South Enhancement pack, or at least part of it, installed. Which means from now, we get into a bit of an interesting part of the route. Right, up to 115. That whole underpass section, Pendos can take at 125, which is a lot of fun to do, I'll be honest. So the line on the left goes off toward Durft, which is the Daventry International Rail Freight Terminal, or Durft for short, which is modelled, and also then goes off toward the Northampton Loop as well, which isn't modelled. Which is a bit of a shame that the Northampton Loop isn't included, but hey, it's still over almost 110 miles of track, and it's the bit of track that I wanted to see, so yeah, the Northampton Loop being omitted is not the end of the world, it's just a bit of a shame. But, yeah, it's not really, it's not, yeah. So there goes the line off toward Northampton Loop. We will see that later. A bit of neutral section. Oh, circuit breaker's out. Mag. Where's the circuit breaker button? Is there... yeah. Okay, there we go. Power is restored. Back up to speed. Tunnel. All trains through here are limited to 110. Is this the one with the overhead sky portal thingies? Like, also, look at that instrument glow. All aboard did a terrific... oh yeah, it is. Wow, snow even falls down all the way through. That is so cool. Anyway. Yeah, like, all aboard are second to none for their instrument lighting. It's probably only beaten out by vector simulations unlimited at Starapaka, one of my favorite routes. Alright. Back out of the tunnel. So yeah, it's a 2-track section. Basically, until the Northampton Loop rejoins the section of track. And then, once we're through Wolverton, we have about 3 miles to Milton Keynes, another Evero. 807. No, double 805. We haven't seen an 807 all day. Very interesting. We've just seen one singular 805 and then two 805s coupled sequentially. I thought it was an 807 at first, but then I realized it was two 805s coupled together. Like, I love Trent Valley. Like, all aboard. It was what it really was a pipe dream of mine that Trent Valley would be added to TSW, and the fact that all aboard were able to pull it off this well, on PC at least, is pretty impressive. I think. Oh, hello. Right, double yellow. This far out from Milton Keynes, we've got another train ahead of us. Ugh. And it's not a freight train either, I hope. Pendo? Yeah, he's going to be trailing that 805 for a bit. Oh, okay, we're good. Notch 4. We must be just behind something ahead. And I assume it's another Evero, because a Pendolino would have left us in the dust long ago. Yeah. You bet your boots that I'm going to absolutely be making a ton of Tadami videos once that route comes out. I'll buy it day one, of course, and then I'll be absolutely making a ton of content on it, so just stay tuned for that. I'll probably be doing a full route run on the first day, and also I'll be doing a collaborative review of Tadami over on TB76. It returns his channel, featuring footage recorded by yours truly, which should be a lot of fun. So just, yeah, stay tuned for that. TB76 makes some great reviews, and the fact that I was able to convince him to use some of my footage was very nice. Yeah. I really do hope with all my heart that Tadami will be another Liberdet to Starapaka, which was an absolutely amazing route when that originally came out, and hasn't even gotten a post-release patch. It's that good. It's one of the few routes in the TSW6 era to have received basically universal acclaim from the get-go, apart from maybe Medway Valley. No, Medway Valley, never mind. Medway Valley still has audio issues on the PS5. When Medway originally came out, it had some very odd audio issues where the 375 just would not play any sounds at all. And then that got fixed, but in the latest patch where Medway got dispatcher mode at Tonbridge and rainbows, well, procedural rainbows, unfortunately the audio issue on Medway came back on PlayStation, so that patch hasn't been released yet, on PlayStation anyway. So yeah, Liberdet to Starapaka is the only TSW6 route to have received universal acclaim from the get-go, and still receive it even months later. Like, that was also the route I used to test out my INI file changes, simply because I thought it would be a good idea if I did. Because that route, more than any other, is a performance hitter, because it has so many custom assets and so much you know, so many assets, tree assets, building assets, that kind of thing. It has not only a lower LOD distance, but also can hit performance pretty hard. It's pushing the limits of Unreal Engine. Like, if you're using .ini file changes and you crank every single setting in the game and also in an INI file all the way to the top, even on a, which Train Sim Society did, he found that he was getting 15 FPS on his system, which, mind you, has an RTX 5090 graphics card, 64 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, and basically the best CPU a civilian can buy. And his whole setup is basically like the best computer you can get. And he was beginning to push its limits with Train Sim World, which is pretty impressive that he was able to do that. It just shows you how much of a performance hog that route is. But it is well optimized from the standpoint of it barely ever stutters. Whoops. And it runs pretty decently. Like, you're always seeing above 30 FPS, except in areas with a lot of stations, and in areas with stations and other rolling stock, then you'll have problems. But because it's a single track line, you barely see any of that. Yeah. Just ran off on a random tangent there, I do apologize. FPS, not bad. It's all these, yeah, it's the foliage assets on this route which really hoover the performance, I have to say. I didn't even notice that 115 limit kicked in, my word. Yeah, we're definitely going to be late to Milton Keynes Central. Miles to go. Limit coming up, very nice. This route did really outperform my expectations. I was expecting it to be a bit of another bummed crew with a not really good performance, but on PC this route really does perform well. Unfortunately on consoles it basically performs the opposite of well. Northampton Loop rejoining in from the left hand side. We have 11 miles to go. We have 4 minutes to do 11 miles. That's not happening, to put it mildly. Yeah, we're definitely going to be late. Ag. If we're only like 5 minutes late, maximum of 5 minutes late, then that's fine. Got to notch forward to get up to that 120 limit. if you had to ask me which Evero I preferred, the 805 or 807, I'd probably say 807, despite the fact it does do less than the 805. It only really goes up to Liverpool Lime Street and not much else, because it doesn't have diesel mode and it can't tilt. But yeah, I do prefer the 807 because, well, it has more cars, and it also has a special culture livery as well, an 807010. Now 4 tracks all the way to Milton Keynes. This route has honestly performed really well. We're still getting 40 FPS this long into a TSW run with another train loaded. That's not bad. 350. Stroke 1 on its way to the Northampton Loop. Yeah. 43 FPS. That's really decent. Like, genuinely. But, yeah, this route performs even better if you have the Pendolino. Making it to Milton Keynes Central on time. We have 40 seconds to do 5 miles. That's never going to happen in a million years. Yeah, this route is a lot of fun to drive. But I just lost my train of thought there. Oh, coming up on Wolverton, which means we're getting pretty close. I wonder if we'll see the northern ECS move, because there is an ECS move with a 323 that goes all the way from Crewe to Wolverton, and because you're limited to 75 by the fact it's a 323, it takes almost 2 hours. And because it's an ECS move, it's also low priority, so it gets stuck behind other units. Missed that 115 limit. But I definitely prefer driving the Pendolino on this route, but the Evero is also a lot of fun to drive. Yeah, I would say so. Wolverton. Let's say the horn is nice on the IETs. It's a good horn, I like it. Is that another? Okay, still voltage. Right. Any sign of a northern ECS move? No. Oh, that's a shame. Oh well. Oh, flashing double yellow, which means we do have a upcoming red signal. Gradually slowing down. Don't want to overspeed through that into that 50 zone at the platform. Okay, yeah, if we don't start applying more brakes, we will 100% get TPWS'd. Yeah, and I do not want to get a TPWS overspeed this long into a trip. That would be very annoying. And that's what I did at the 807 when I was approaching Cruise in my first video on this line, because the snuck up on me without me realizing. Alright, here we go. There's also a go-kart track on the right hand side, interestingly enough, which my brother has actually expressed interest in going to, but yeah, it's just ironic that it's right next to the West Coast Main Line. Alright, we're 2 minutes late so far.
We are now approaching Milton Keynes Central. Please mind the gap when leaving the train and step onto the platform before removing heavy luggage and pushchairs.
Yeah, honestly, like, being say 3 minutes late, by British standards, that is an acceptable margin of error, but for me, that's pretty unacceptable. What a pathetic run, I have to say. Right, let's get down to 15, just so we don't get TPWS'd. Yeah. Milton Keynes. Then yeah, it's just a direct run from here down to Euston on West Coast Main Line South. Right, where is that stop marker? There it is. There's a Pendolino going through fast. Very nice. I wonder what service that is. Because some... Alright. Doors opening. Welcome to Milton Keynes Central, everybody. 350 coming in, stroke 1. I have the stroke 2 or stroke 3 because I don't have Birmingham crew, and that means that the class 220 doesn't show up either. Very annoying, but oh well. Okay. Lock the doors. Yep, lost points for speeding. Not surprised. But yeah. Still got a lot of points. And yeah, that'll be all for this video, everyone. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications. Please join my Discord server if you want to chat with me. And also, please do become a channel member if you feel like it. And also if you can afford it, and gain access to exclusive content. And I'll see you on the next one, everyone. Goodbye.